Right. Okay. Mr. Schwarick, or as I refer to you, Grandpa, in your so-called prime, you were an agent for the United States Secret Service, correct?
Correct.
During this time, you got to see many things people dream of being able to see because you were able to go into the White House, fly with the president, go to conferences, and just see the president because this was all part of your job. Now, before I ask you a little bit about your time being an agent, would you mind answering some questions about yourself?
Sure. Especially for you.
Briefly describe your experience while in the service.
Briefly describe. I did 29 years. I was assigned to a couple of field offices in my time, did a lot of investigative work. We did, actually the Secret Service, which a lot of people don't realize, was founded in 1865, I believe, pretty sure I'm right, to suppress counterfeiting. And we later became famous and well known for protection. So we started as an investigative organization that became famous for specifically presidential protection. I did that. I was with Henry Kissinger for a couple of years. I was with George H.W. Bush, George Bush the senior father. Permanently, I was with a couple others through the years. You know, I was a supervisor towards the end, and you know, it was an interesting and at times fun 29 years.
All right. Thank you for answering those questions. Now I'll ask you more about the Secret Service.
You're very welcome.
What was the longest period of time that you stayed awake at one time?
Oh, wow. Well over 24. Actually, staying awake, probably 2 days. We were on a particular trip with then Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, and we were the afternoon shift, and we were in Paris, and the other shift that was supposed to work they got fogged in. They couldn't get out of London to fly somewhere in Germany, and I can't remember. I apologize. I can't remember what town. So we had to get on the plane with him. We had been up all day, worked all day, flew, worked all night, and then worked into the following morning until we got relief. So we actually physically worked, not just awake. We were actually physically working for well over 24 hours. So it gets to be a long day. You sleep good that night, though, when you finally go to sleep.
I can imagine. All right. In some of the books and pictures you showed me, you were at events with the Pope. What Pope did you see?
John Paul. Both times that he was in. Or I should say Saint. Pope John Paul. Yeah. He is a saint now.
How were you chosen to be a part of this? Were there certain positions, or did you specifically get chosen to be with the Pope?
Not specifically chosen. The Secret Service, the way people are chosen is maybe a strong word for it. The assignment that you're given, both times that he came in, he was into the New York, New Jersey area. So all of the agents in the New York, New Jersey area are working, and it's just a matter of your level of seniority, where you're at, what kind of job you're going to be given, what do you do in the field office that you're working in, are you in the intelligence squad, and all of those factors play into, are you out there as a post stander, you're just standing there, or are you actually physically doing something else? I think one of the books that I gave you, there's a shot in the old Shea Stadium when the Pope was saying Mass, and I'm at the front of the stage. That is an assignment that you got because you were just there. And then the second time that he came in, flew in and out of Newark, and I was in a position that I was doing the intelligence for the visit, and I was this far away from him. So it depends on, where you are in your career as to what you're going to be chosen to do.
Being a son of a father that's a police officer, I know that in law enforcement there are different rankings. Are there different rankings in the Secret Service?
Yes. When I retired, I was an SSA, Senior Special Agent. And like I said, I was in charge of training people, running street operations, in charge of that type of thing. But yes, to answer your question, there are levels and supervisory levels, which is that you're in the supervisory level there, and there are different titles: Special Agent in Charge, Assistant Special Agent in Charge, things like that, as opposed to in what you consider law enforcement, sergeant, lieutenant, captain,
Yeah.
but they are equal.
So you've said that you've traveled a lot, like you said to Paris, you mentioned Germany. What was your favorite place that you remember traveling to?
Wow. Being of Irish descent, Ireland is pretty special. I was there a couple of times. But over and above that, I think as a history major in college, I always enjoyed being someplace that I thought and felt that had I not been on the job, I would never have been there. I was one of the first advance agents that came in to China and opened it up when Secretary Kissinger went there 70-something, 75. Never thought I would get someplace like that. I was on a safari in Africa. I've done things like that. I've been to the pyramids in Egypt. I've been to the Great Wall. I walked on in China, but what I was thinking of, I've been to the Wailing Wall. All of the places that we get to go, you're not really going as a tourist, of course. You're there working, but you're still there, and you have your eyes open, and you go, in the back of your head, you go, wow, I'm standing on the Great Wall of China. Wow, that's pretty cool. So, there was a lot of places that I enjoyed for that reason, that it was just fun to experience, to actually see it that you only see in books or on television.
I heard that as an agent you flew on Air Force One. What was that experience like?
About as good as it gets. It's a nice way to travel. Very, very nice. I mean, what makes it especially nice is that the Air Force stewards, the people that are assigned on there, they do a wonderful job of obviously they take care of the guy who's flying up in that front cabin, but they take care of everybody else, and you become part of a family out there with them, especially agents to the service personnel, to the military. There's a tremendous bond, there's a tremendous affinity towards each other, and so that was always nice. You always felt like you were home, and in all of those places that I just mentioned, that I was saying, there's something absolutely wonderful about going up those back stairs and sitting down, because even though you may be sitting on a tarmac someplace in God only knows where, you're home, you're in America, you're on that big plane with the American flag on it.
Mm-hmm.
It felt wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you got to restart your life from the day you decided you wanted to be an agent, would you have picked the same career?
Yeah. Again, you've heard me say, my grandfather was a lieutenant, my father was a sergeant, I was in the Secret Service, and sadly, your father's a lieutenant. But it's the family business. It is what we do, or what we have done, and I would have, because there's another book I want to show you. A friend of mine authored it, and all the proceeds are for charity and so on and so forth. And it's called The Guardians of Democracy. And I had a friend of mine who I went to high school with, who became a news person, and we stayed in touch every once in a while. And he mentioned that to me many, many years ago, and it rung with me. We were talking about something, and he was the type of person that I could talk to about some things, because being in his business, he knew, understood, and was able to, and he said to me that you don't realize that you are actually, you're not just protecting the person, you're protecting the democratic way of life, you're protecting democracy. And that kind of resonated with me years ago. I was like, yeah, would I do it again? Yeah. Is it tough? Absolutely. You know, don't get me wrong, you know, absolutely, but I do it again, sure.
Mr. Colgary, you worked with my grandfather as an agent in the Secret Service for 29 years, correct?
That is correct.
During this time, what were some of his strong points?
I'd say your grandfather's strongest point was his intuition. When we were doing investigations together, I was very much more by the book, go by the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your grandfather could go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. He could get us to where we wanted to go a lot faster, just based on his intuition. Pretty much that became the team where he'd come up with the ideas and then I would find a way to square them later on.
What were some of his weaker points?
If anything, I'd probably have to say is patience. Your grandfather does not suffer fools lightly. Especially when somebody is very bad at lying and they lied to us. That would get him very annoyed very quickly.
What did you and my grandfather work together? Did you travel together or work at desks?
Both. It depends on, when we first started, we started off as street agents, field agents. We worked at desk, we worked forgery investigations, counterfeit money investigations, very much like detectives would work out of a precinct. Later on in our career, as we went through the different protective assignments, that's when a lot of the travel would come up. We served in some of the same assignments, albeit not at the exact same time. Our careers branched off in 2 different directions and then met back up later in our career. And then we were back to being supervisors together. Yeah, there was desk work, but Bill was the street supervisor. So anytime we had an operation going later in our career, when I was the boss, he was the street supervisor. And then he would tell me, no, you don't need to come out, I got it. And I'd let him get away with it until I got tired of sitting behind a desk, and then I wanted to go out too.
If you could use one word to describe my grandfather, what would it be and why?
It would be my best friend, and I think that's self-explanatory.
If you got to restart your life from the day you decided to be an agent, would you pick the same career choice? Why or why not?
I most definitely would pick the same agency, and it's because of the dual mission of the Secret Service, the fact that you can do both criminal investigations. In fact, my best story ever when it comes to that was while working in the Newark office, I made an undercover buy in the morning involving some stolen government checks. We then arrested the person. I then helped with the interview later on in the interview room when I was revealed as an undercover agent. And that afternoon I flew down to Washington I was on a temporary assignment on a foreign dignitary, and I wound up in a tuxedo at the White House all on the same day. So I went from undercover in East Orange, New Jersey, to standing at a state dinner in the White House in a tuxedo all on the same day. I don't think there's any other agency where you could have done that. I forgot about that story.
Alright, well, thank you.
Thank you, Will.